Some things defy all logic. Situations so bizarre, so dark that not even the police, with all their power, authority, and weapons, can do anything about it. And when that happens, all that's left is fear, helplessness, the overwhelming terror of being alone against something that cannot be explained. In this video, you'll hear 3 real stories lived by ordinary people in ordinary places. Where everything spiraled out of control, these are stories where evil hides between the lines, where the threat has no face, and where even an emergency call wasn't enough to bring help. Get ready to dive into the kind of story that makes reality feel like a nightmare. The kind that makes you question everything around you. The first story comes from a small town deep in the United States. A young man named Daniel had moved into his grandfather's old house after inheriting it. Everything seemed quiet at first, until he started hearing noises coming from the basement. But they weren't normal sounds. It wasn't the plumbing, the wind, or even rats. It sounded like someone was down there, crawling, breathing, whispering his name. He called the police multiple times, but every time they arrived, they found nothing. No broken locks. No signs of forced entry. The officers told him he was stressed, that his imagination was playing tricks on him. But Daniel knew he wasn't alone in that house. And whatever was in the basement, it knew his name. Have you ever imagined being in real danger, and not even the police could help you? If this beginning already gave you chills, drop a comment. I'm scared, but I need to know what happens next. One night, Daniel decided to go down to the basement on his own. Armed with only a flashlight and his phone recording everything, he slowly descended the stairs. Each step creaked like the house itself was warning him to turn back. The darkness below felt alive. The air was thick, almost impossible to breathe. And then he saw them, footprints in the dust, barefoot, fresh. They led to the darkest corner of the basement and then stopped. No exit, as if whoever had been there had simply vanished. Or worse, was still there, silently watching him. Daniel bolted back upstairs, locked every door, and called the police again. When the officers arrived, they found him in a state of shock. But once again, the basement was empty. That's when he decided to install security cameras throughout the house. And that's when the real horror began. At first, the footage showed nothing unusual. But around 3:00 a.m., one of the ground floor cameras captured something terrifying. A figure moving through the hallway, tall, thin, with grayish skin and eyes that reflected light like an animal's. It didn't walk. It hovered. The figure stopped in front of Daniel's bedroom door. It stood there, motionless for several minutes, and then vanished. When Daniel showed the footage to the police, they dismissed it as a camera glitch. But he knew what he saw, and worse, he knew that thing wasn't trying to kill him, not yet. If you were Daniel, could you sleep after that? drop a comment. If I saw that on my camera, I'd run from that house immediately. Daniel stopped sleeping in his bedroom. He stayed up until sunrise with every light in the house turned on, trying to make sense of what was happening. He reached out to priests, paranormal investigators. He even contacted a medium. No one could explain it, but they all said the same thing. The house wasn't empty. The entity, whatever it was tied to the family. Something old, something that might not even be human. One of the most chilling theories came from a local archivist who uncovered records of mysterious disappearances on that very property going back over a century. People who vanished without a trace, always around the same time of year. And guess what? It was the exact month Daniel started hearing the whispers. The nights grew worse. Besides the figure in the footage, the lights started flickering randomly. Doors slammed on their own, and every night at exactly 3:03 a.m. the house alarm went off, with no signs of intrusion. That's when Daniel broke down. Exhausted, mentally shattered, he called the police one last time and begged them to get him out of there. Officers came and took him to stay somewhere else for the night. And for a moment it seemed like everything might finally be over. But then, the message came. A text, no name, no number, just one sentence. "Come back, I'm not finished with you." Daniel never replied, but the cameras in the house, even with him far away, kept recording. And what they captured in the nights that followed will leave you speechless. If you got that kind of message, would you dare check the footage? Comment right now. This video's making me paranoid. Even far from the house, Daniel couldn't disconnect. Something kept pulling him back, as if the entity wanted to keep a link alive. The cameras, still online, began capturing increasingly disturbing events. Objects moved on their own, doors slammed open and shut without reason. In one of the recordings, the figure appeared again. But this time it was standing at the top of the stairs, staring directly into the camera as if it knew it was being watched. And then it smiled, a grotesque, stretched grin as if its skin were rubber pulled to the breaking point. It wasn't a threat. It was a message, a warning. Terrified, Daniel tried to delete the footage, sell the house, cut all ties, but it was useless. Whoever bought the house returned it days later. Anyone who stepped inside left in silence, refusing to speak of what they saw, as if the evil sealed within those walls rejected new tenants. The final recording before the cameras failed showed something even more disturbing. The figure walking through the house. But this time its skin had changed. It looked like Daniel. Same face, same clothes, a perfect copy, a twisted reflection. The camera flickered, the image glitched, and then silence. Black screen, No recordings after that. No one ever entered the house again. And Daniel, no one's heard from him since. Some say he moved across the country. Others swear they've seen him wandering the streets, but with empty eyes as if something else was inside. One thing is certain, the evil that lived there is still waiting. Waiting for someone new, someone curious, someone like you. So tell me, would you dare spend a night in that house? Comment now. I'm never sleeping with the lights off again.